Well, much peace and love, everybody. Much peace and love. You're now rocking to the sounds and vibrations of your boy, DonKilam, also known as Malik Kalam. And as always, prosperity is your birthright. I'm not a licensed attorney or tax expert. I do this for educational and informational purposes only. I had to turn that echo off. I can't be hearing myself in the background. I don't like that, man. Now look, I had somebody question me about some stuff I find very simple. I don't necessarily use it all the time, but I have used it in the past. So there's a few different ways. Peace and love, peace and love. There's a few different ways you can send mail free. Now, if you want to just send single letters, it's called franking mail. It's a franking mail privilege. Frank mail privilege. All you have to do is write frank mail on it. This is franking privileges, the ability to send mail by one signature rather than by postage. The American Continental Congress adopted the practice in 1775, and the first Congress wrote it into law in 1789. All right, that's the franking mail. All right, and I've sent single letters with this, but never packages. Now, if you have a national ID, and you can go to nationalitytravels.com if you need one. I'll show you guys mine, so y'all know it's real. I actually carry two of them. So nationalitytravels.com. You can go there, you can get that. And you just, all you gotta do is show them this national ID, right? Now I'm gonna break it down, so you're gonna have to study. And we're doing it tax per K or Percue. TAXEPRCUE. You write a certain code on there, UPURL 1142.2, foreign office of origin, stamp and seal. In certain instances, a retail office may have a customer come to the counter and claim exemption from paying U.S. postage because of the status as a foreign national or affiliation with a similar type of organization. Appreciate you, appreciate you. The customer will insist that the tax per Q, tax per K is a valid means of postage per the Universal Postal Union, the UPU, and International Mail Manual, IMM standards. Typically, these mail pieces have a thumbprint on them and make reference to UPU 141.2.2 and or IMM 742. He says, I was just watching one of your videos on YouTube. Appreciate that. We got loaded for success in the building. We got a savvy dude in the building. I appreciate y'all. Tax per K or tax per Q mail pieces are not to be accepted into the mail stream and should be returned to the customer. Tax per Q is a means for foreign postal administration to acknowledge that identify the short paid mail item before it left for originating the country. Now, how you're using this, you're using it per definitions, because you have to understand, United States is a corporation per 28 U.S.C. 3002 subsection 15A. All right, you gotta understand the United States is a corporation. We got ink in the building, peace and love. With that being said, you know that you're foreign to the United States. You're a national, and you can use your nationality ID if you have a national ID, and send mail free. So I've done this, tax per K, and I've also done it with frank mail, just sending regular letters, all right? I only send letters with that. I don't send packages, all right? So these are things that's actually worked for me. That was a great question somebody asked. I went ahead and answered it. I usually don't answer questions for free, but I did today, all right? And it's tax per K. Great question. But what I'm going to get into tonight, all right? Feeling just right. You feel me? We're going to get back into trust, man. We're going to get back into trust because I want everybody to understand. And if you're following along on the YouTube, I'm going to add all of this screen share on the YouTube, all right? I'm going to add the screen share on the YouTube, all right? My Facebook, I am live. You should share this to at least 3 to 5 people. Make sure you hit like, subscribe, share. Start engaging, leaving comments if this makes sense. Put it makes sense. If you can drop a donation, make sure you do that. The Cash App is TheDonKilam, TheDonKilam. Or if you don't have Cash App, you can just go to donkilam.com/donate. That's donkilam.com/donate. MalikKalam.com if you rather use Bitcoin. Now look. I'm going to go over a lot of great things today. But right now, I'm giving away these packages for the low. And what's in them, what's so important, is I'm going to give you access to a lot of trust material that you can study. You're not going to learn it overnight, but this is enough to turn you into a genius, all right? This is what the 1% know. The people. It's knowledge that makes people on a pedestal, that puts people on a pedestal. You got to understand that. It's certain knowledge. And usually it's dealing with your labor and your money, okay? They need your attention, first and foremost, and then they need your money. Because they're going to give you something to keep playing this game. You follow me? You need something to keep playing this game, whether it's rocks, whether it's gold, whether it's fiat currency, which is not even real. You follow me? It's not even backed by silver and gold. So I went over expressing the trust yesterday. There's a lot of great information just with that. Appreciate Brittany Perez in the building. We got expressing the trust, training trust information. This is all trustee training. Information about the trust. And when I'm going into these files, we got the international trust. Transferring assets to the trust, unincorporated business trust. There's so much that it's going to take time to digest. General class documents and then trust management. This is all great information. It's going to take time. This is why you really want me to come to your city. We got Jerosa in the building. I'll be building with her soon. Peace and love to her. I'm just showing. Because I'm screen sharing, I'm going to share this later. I just want y'all to see what some of the stuff y'all getting. Show you how to send the free certified mail. Like, that's just what I was going over. And they asked me the question, so I figured I'll bring it up. But I just want y'all to know that it works. I want to know that it works. We use the same code. They use the same codes right here. Foreign Office of Origin. But instead of using their thumbprint, they actually just signed it. So I'm leaving that on the screen for everybody to see. They didn't even use a zip code. Put zip exempt. But there's a lot of things I'm going over. $97 is going to get you all of this. A lot of people have been upset because in the past they spent a lot of money, like thousands and thousands of dollars for this information, and I'm giving it to you guys pretty cheap right now. Like I had somebody contact me today, like, I gave you $1,500 for the same information you're giving away for $97. And then I had somebody else say the same thing. People really don't want you with this information because they're capitalizing off this. I need you to know it. You got to understand, if you come from the infinite source, the money is infinite. You feel me? Your creativity is infinite. Understand that. And then breaking down the unincorporated business trust, all right? I want y'all to know what's going on. How to transfer assets, all of that. We got the independent contracts, actually creating the trust, the trustee acceptance, the Schedule A's, trustee resignation. I'm going to do other, like the fee arrangements. You follow me? TCU, the certificate units, all right? The trustee certificate units, bills of sales, trustee. You got to understand what's going on and making sure you're doing the right forms. And bookkeeping. That's just what it's about, man. And right here at the end, we got you got to have your own definitions, and then we also got court citations, which I'm going to go over that too today. I'm going to touch a lot of stuff very quickly, all right? So check me out. 3 steps to freedom. This is included, all right? You send a $97 donation to the Cash App, TheDonKilam, put hashtag EXP, Express Trust, EXPTRUST with your email address in the memo box. Bitches love Don in the building. Says Kilam, what's up? What's good? Peace and love. So make sure you put your email address in the memo box, hashtag ESP Trust. And I'll make sure you get these access to all these files and documents I'm going over. There's a lot. I put 75 documents, but it's way over that, man. There's more like 200 or 300. You feel me? I just always want to I always undersell and deliver more, because I don't know really what you guys are expecting. I'm only one man doing what I can, so I need you to do your study. And when you do your study, guess what? You're going to fall in love with me when you start applying this knowledge. When you start applying this knowledge. If you're a member, no, you do not have this information, because I just released this information. This is newly discovered information that I put together for you guys. You might have a little bits and pieces here and there, but this is the whole shebang when you want to start studying trust. I just put this together yesterday. This is newly discovered evidence, and I feel like this is going to bring you from here to here if you just study it from 0 to 100 real quick. Now again, I'm presenting this information for educational and informational purposes only. This is not legal advice. This is not tax advice. This is so you can make a better decision in life. All right? So there are 3 different game levels from slavery to freedom. Being a mere debtor slave, all right, is level 1. The starting or bottom level from you at the mercy of your debtors. This is a world of bankruptcy control. And the money changers who have the control by way of quasi-trusteeship of the corporate comptrollers, but they are under the oversight of the comptrollers in bankruptcy of the United States Corporation. The first comptroller in the American Department of the Treasury. All right, the IRS is the bookkeepers for the Treasury. The Treasury manages the debt, and they work with the Bureau of Public Debt. Well, didn't mean to do that, but here we go. Level 2. You need to establish that only the artificial person, you need to establish that the only artificial person is the fiduciary. And I'm telling you, when you make your name an LLC or an S Corp, a holding company, so to speak, it's going to help you understand about the artificial person. Anytime you hear a person, you should think corporation. Anytime you hear a person, you should think corporation. So level 2, you need to establish that only the artificial person is the fiduciary. It's not you. We got Black November in the building. Peace and love. Peace and love. We got Tactical Judah in the building. Peace and love. Clearly Clarity in the building. Peace and love. So you need to establish that the artificial person is the fiduciary. But it is not you. That's why I say make your name a business, so you can distinguish between the two. When you hear your name in the public, it is an artificial person. As the controlling executor, player, or trustee, that's the status. The controlling executor, player, or trustee over the assessing of the trust or the Social Security trust that you're administering or controlling, dry processing trust. In order to gain the access and control of your American and state 5 commissaries by the use of the 1099 A, B, C, etc. The list goes on. OIDs, we got Polo Patterson in the building. Level 3, the capstone, your private tribunal. Again, level 3, the capstone, your private tribunal. You and the artificial person and your living trust. Okay, these is you. We'll just leave you nameless right now. You can just be called the founding director. We're just going to call you the founding director. This is your status right now, the founding director. You can go in the bank saying you're the founding director or the managing director, and this takes away your liability if you understand business. So, your artificial person of business, the Esquire, you follow me? And your living trust, because the artificial person is going to be the pass-through entity that is like a power of attorney, so to speak. This is going to give you your rights. This is the final goal. What you need to achieve to win the game. You have take the 5 commissaries by 1099 CAP, and place them under your total protection in your private living trust. Your trust now holds the actual value of the estate within and now have full ability to use credit money, which is all they understand. Learn how to settle your artificial person's debts, state and Fed tax, also through your private trust. And I'm going to break some of this down today. But understand what the 1099, see, a lot of people talk about the 1099 OID. But they never mention the 1099 CAP, and this is for the capital gains. Any capital gains. This is how you can get any capital gains on the private side and send it to your trust. Because you are now changes in corporate control and capital structure. You're setting this up with the 1099 CAP. Because you got to understand your name is a sole proprietorship already. By default, when you understand the game. I'm trying to show y'all how to get money, man. I'm a fucking gold mine if you sit around and hang around me. Motherfuckers come up around me. Excuse my language. A sole proprietorship, also known as a sole tradership, individual entrepreneurship, or proprietorship, is a type of enterprise owned and run by one person in which there is no legal distinction between the owner and the business entity. Your name is a sole proprietorship by default. That's why they stamped the soul of your footprint on the documents. They turned you into a business. That's how you're operating in commerce. I don't know how much simpler I can make this get for y'all, man. I'm trying to teach y'all how to get money. The 1099 cap, if you need, listen, I should write a book about this. If you need assistance with this stuff, you need to become a member. I'm making this stuff low so y'all can go study on your own. $97 is going to get you all this information. But I need you to study on your own. Now, if you need my confirmation, external validation, then you're going to want to become a member. I'm setting up virtual classes right now with you, one-on-one virtuals for $14.97. If you want me to come to your city right now, it's $29.97. I'm talking about $2,997. $1,497 for virtuals. Polo Patterson says it makes sense because he studies. You follow me? Polo Patterson studies. That's all I'm saying. I done seen his name. I done seen what he's... You are the fruits of your labor. So what are you applying? Because applied knowledge is the true knowledge. The motions that you're putting forth is showing if you study and really know what you're talking about when you speak. All you got to do is just learn how to say the right thing starting off. And then it will start clicking when you apply the knowledge. All right? So... starting off, we went over being a mere debtor slave to establishing the artificial person is a fiduciary, and then learning how to create your private tribunal through trust. The Constitution is an express trust. I'm saying again, the Constitution is an express trust. Learn about this. Learn about expressing the trust. The Constitution is an express trust. It has amendments. You follow me? Trust has amendments. All right? And they're putting the people... If you're a citizen, then you're property of this trust. So you got to learn how to step outside the tribunal. Learn how to declare your declarations of your trust. Declaration of Independence was declaring something within the trust. Polo Patterson, keep studying, you'll get it. It becomes life. I'm trying to tell you. Now, a few addresses. I'm going to show this now. When you start updating your status correctly and putting your trust on file and learn how to operate correctly, you're going to want to know the address of the Office of Treasury Inspector General. That's 1500 Pennsylvania Avenue, Northwest, room 4436. Department of Justice, Trustee, Inspector General, 950 Pennsylvania Avenue, Northwest. The SSA Inspector General, the Social Security. That's P.O. Box 17785 in Baltimore, Maryland. The IRS Technical Support Division, Department Chief Officer, Chief Postal Inspector, and then Internal Revenue Service. This one shows Ogden, Utah, Office of the Commissioner, Internal Revenue Service. This is Taxing Supervisor. I like to use the one in Covington, Kentucky. All right, P.O. Box 192. Now, when they send you a property tax, says it makes you think of Enemy with the State of Will Smith. See, you got to understand that Trading with the Enemy Act. You are the enemy. You are the enemy when you're a citizen. And they're trading with the enemy because of your lack of knowledge. You follow me? So until you update your status correctly, you are an enemy. That's when you go to court, it says the state versus you. Learn how to withdraw from income taxes. A mortgage contract is not a contract, it's a lease agreement. Understand that. Simple handling of a demand from a tax collector. Contact your tax assessor. Peace and love. We got Dash and Stoner in the building. Contact your tax assessor and ask for a written explanation of the numbered codes appearing on your property tax statement. Once you have deciphered the statement, you will find your property classified by one of the commercial designations: agricultural, industrial, or residential, not private. So write a letter to your tax assessor explaining that you have discovered an error in your tax statement. Do not mention the tax itself, as the error in question relates only to the classification. Explain that your property has mistakenly been classified as agricultural, industrial, or residential. And please correct the classification to read private. Ask the assessor to notify you by mail once the matter has been handled. Be polite and sign the letter using words like sincerely, best wishes. There's no reason to be belligerent, all right? You got to learn how to be friends, not enemies. I like to notarize stuff too. But if you don't notarize stuff, I'll show you a code really fast. I like to show you all the cheat codes of life. (28 U.S.C. 1746), unsworn declarations under penalty of perjury. If you're not going to use a notary, at least implement the code. We got Jeremy Shorter in the building, peace and love. So 28 U.S.C. 1746, unsworn declarations under penalty of perjury. Now, if the assessor honors your wishes, you'll never see a property tax statement again once you update the status of your property to private. All right? If, as is more likely, the assessor writes back refusing to adjust the records, you may now open up a discussion as to why not. Ask whether you have the rights to own private property. Polo Patterson says the codes work, better use them. I'm trying to tell you. People are stuck on the common law. Use their codes, become familiar with the codes and statutes, and then you can implement common law. You follow me? Because once you bring it to the private, it's common law regardless. Then you get to implement your own laws. All right? Do not fight with these people because you're not understanding what's going on when you become a defendant. Now you're defending something. You may now open up discussion as to why not. Ask the master. Ask the questions. Ask whether you have the right to own private property. He will say yes, of course. And ask why he refuses to classify it as private property. He will either explain to you that he cannot tax property unless it's classified pursuant to constitutional limitations, residential, industrial, or agricultural, or he will reveal to you that you do not really own the property, in which case he has admitted to fraud, nullifying the transfer of property in the first place, since you were not aware of what you were doing at the time. In either case, once the assessor brings up taxation, you can now make the argument that your real property has been reclassified without your permission for the sole purpose of taxation. This is the firm basis for a lawsuit. It's that simple. You got to know what you're doing. This is all in the documents and files. You can get it all for $97 on the Cash App. TheDonKilam. TheDonKilam. Now, requirements. When you're putting things on, you gotta learn how to put things on the county deeds records, the recorder's office. Learn how to put stuff on the record. The record is the book of life. You gotta understand that what's on the record goes. The record is the book of life. All right? The record is the book of life. So, assaults on process servers. This is 18 U.S.C. 1501. Whoever knowingly and willingly obstructs, resists, or opposes any officer of the United States or other person duly authorizing, serving, or attempting to serve or execute any legal or judicial writ of process of any court of the United States or United States Magistrate Judge. Whoever assaults, beats, and wounds, you can't assault a process servant. Now, 18 U.S.C. 1506. Theft or alteration of the record or process. False bail. All right? You got to understand these codes. they have to put your stuff on the record. Just know that. Learn how to implement the codes correctly. Label everything as an exhibit, because if they don't put it on the record, then that's making it where they're tampering with evidence. I want to show people this. Let me not even show court first. Let me show traffic. Because I have a few people that keep hitting me up about traffic court. You know, my prices have went up, so it'd probably be cheaper for you to pay the ticket if you're in traffic court than to come to me. Unless you're a member already, then I'll probably just charge you a couple $100. But, and I'll help handle it for you. But, with traffic court, I got the simple letter notice and demand by declaration. Ecclesiastical notice for the principal is notice for the agent, and notice for the agent is notice for the principal. Reference your citation numbers. Put your citation numbers on there. Learn how to write accepted for value. If I get any citation, I put accept for value, all rights reserved as my signature. I flip it on the back and put arrest warrant made payable to, and I ask the officer what their badge number is. Because your word is your bond, what you say goes. You can only get a ticket to a show. They can only summons dead people or corporations. Corpse means dead body. Action means action. When he says all rise, he just brought life to the dead. I know that's just a lot, but that's just what it is. Rewind it, go back. This is breaking down what it is about the courts. And what you're going to want to do is demand you want to be on a court of record. Municipal courts are not courts of record. Once you file certain declarations, letters of rogatory, they're going to get rid of it and show them your names of trust. Now your rights are restored. It's all about status. You can withdraw your appearances. Notice to withdraw all appearances to correct the record. And this is in the name of the trust. This notice has caused to be served upon the court to break the presumption and set the record straight that I hereby withdraw all prior appearances pursuant to a civil action case number. See Exhibit A, affidavit attached, attach your documents. You follow me? Notice of withdrawal. I withdraw please too. Now, if you have to contract with the court, this is all in the documents because it's dealing with the trust, all right? If you're inside the bar, let them know. I'm appearing today as the authorized representative for the surety over the defendant inside the bar while reserving all my unalienable rights. Always reserve your rights. Does this court accept my appearance today? I'm here today as the authorized representative for the surety over the defendant, merely here to settle any and all claims before this court. Never admit to being the name because that goes back to the sole prop. Read through that stuff. You can accept the public defender of proof of claim and that the attorney won't argue the facts. Take private payment compensation, stand as surety for the defense, and this court accepts it in writing. Listen, this is valuable information right here. Do not waive the reading of the charges before the court. Have them read the charges into open court so that the case gets bonded and we will know the amount we have to set off. When he asks you how you will plead, I will accept all charges upon bona fide proof of claim and immediate inspection of original charging or accusation instrument. Or you can just say, I plead guilty to the facts and not the claim. I plead guilty to the facts but not the charges. I enter a negative plea under general traverse. I enter a negative plea under general traverse. You never want to enter their jurisdiction. Does anyone here now today have an original charging accusation instrument available for my inspection? Say it twice. If the judge or the prosecutor interrupts, let them. Then conditionally accept everything they just said upon a bona fide proof of claim and immediate inspection of an original charging instrument. If they offer you an attorney, you accept it, all right? Say, I accept the public defender, a proof of claim, and that the attorney won't argue the facts. A fact can't enter a courtroom. I need you guys to know that it's fiction. You appear to be black on or about this day. You got to understand. Here's the facts. The facts is the earth is billions of years old. Who decided it's 2021? We can bring in a state teacher if we want to. certified. Take the private payment compensation, stands as surety for the defense, and this court accepts it in writing. Say all this on the record. If they start saying you're crazy and want to have a mental competency hearing, conditionally accept the offer upon a bona fide proof of claim, and that they can show cause how appearance today as the authorized representative for the surety of the defendant for the purpose of settlement, set off, and discharge shows incompetency. And you can even object. I do not suffer from constitutional psychopathic inferiority. As a matter of fact, I think you do. I think the attorney does. State their name. If they hand you an original charging instrument, take a pen, write accepted for value, return for value, exempt from levy, private prepaid exemption number, and your social with no dashes. Charge the same to your name, all caps, with the social, with dashes, and signed and dated. This is what I put on the tickets as well. This is what you put on the tickets. Arrest warrant, the arrest warrant payable to you. Put this on the front. Accept for value, return for value, exempt from levy. Hand it back to the bailiff and request that he deliver it back to the party who produced it. The bailiff works for you. Then say, for your honor, would it be to exercise orderly care with the instrument? Does anyone else here now today have any other original charging instruments available for my inspection? If someone freaks out and tries to take the charging instrument from you, ask them if they are interfering with your private capacity to contract and produce a remedy. Polo Patterson says he makes a stamp out of it. Except for value. If they take it before you, you set the instrument off. Let the record show that the bailiff has now accepted all liability in regards to the charges. What goes on the record? This is your court. You need to understand this is your name. This is a business transaction. Look, I'm going to show you something so simple. Because people don't study commerce, so they don't know what's going on. What is a stock warrant? A stock warrant is issued by an employer that gives the holder the right to buy company shares at a certain price before their expiration. The easiest way to exercise a warrant is through your broker. So you got to understand, why do they have a clerk? They're handling money. And if you don't win this battle that's going on, and it's trading with the enemy, they're trading with you. It's a stock warrant hearing. Certificate means title of ownership. You don't understand what's going on. Guess what? You're about to go work for them. They're about to create bonds, and now you have to perform. You understand? You're contracting with them. You're about to become a government employee. That's what's about to go down. We got Be Better Rentals in the building. You're about to become a government employee. So I'm going to say this again. What is a stock warrant? A stock warrant is issued by an employer that gives the holder the right to buy company shares at a certain price before the expiration. The easiest way to accept a warrant is through your broker. You get a ticket, you get a warrant, anything. Yes, a court is a bank. Bench means bank. Understand the words as well. You can only summons dead people. You can only summons corporation. Corpse means dead body. Action means action. Bank or banco. The bench on which the judge of a court sit in bank or less commonly in banco, in full court. It's a trust hearing. A court is a bank. Bank, or bank definition. Look at this. I can't make this up. Y'all just won't study. I need y'all to go study. Bank or bank, B-A-N-C or B-A-N-K. The seat of judgment. The king's bench in common pleas. The bench of common pleas. The meeting of all judges. And we already know what clerk means. A clerk handles money. You follow me? That's common knowledge. So the judge is sitting on the bank, but the real person in charge is the clerk because they're the one that's handling the documents. All right? The judge is just the administrator. They're just the fiduciary. Yes, the court clerk is the bank teller. So, you got to understand, if they accuse you of committing a crime, when you start writing on the document, conditionally accept their offer that it's a crime upon proof of claim that they can show cause, how set-off statement and closure of the account can be converted into a crime. And remember, all crimes are commercial, because this is all money, baby. Understand your name. Understand what's going on. Your name is the business. Your name is the sole prop. Learn how to strip liability. That's what I'm going over. Learning that your name is the trust and start learning the business side as well. When you start with the business side and start learning how to operate a business from your name, because when you hear Michael Jordan, that's not just a name. That's a business. When you hear the name Michael Jordan, that's just not a name. It's a business, right? When you hear the name Joe Biden, that's a business. I just want that to sink in. I want that to sink in. When you hear the name Donald Trump, that's business, baby. If you hear it, whether it's good or bad, it's good for the business. Do you follow me? Just think. Your Instagram name is a business. They're getting paid off it. Your Facebook name is a business. They're getting paid off it. Your YouTube handle is a business. It's a business name. They're getting paid off it. Your name is a business. They're finding every which way to capture it so they can keep your energy, your labor, your attention. Time is money, period. They need it all. Whoever they is, the invisible hand. You follow me? So you got to learn how to protect these things, all right? We don't even have physical photo albums no more. They own your pictures. Understand what's going down. If they question anything about the instrument you just set off, are there any defects in the instrument? That's what you ask. If they do not produce an original charging instrument and you have asked for it at least 2 times, let the record show that no one here now today in the court has any claims against the defendant. Then you can work out. Yes, everything is commerce. Everything is cream. Cash rules everything around me. If they block your passage when you're walking out, ask for original charging instrument again. If they still don't move, ask them, by what authority are you blocking my right to passage? Are you threatening me? Always ask them, by what authority? Is your authority greater than my higher powers? What does an actor in fiction have authority over me, the live man? Ask them these things. If the prosecutor even opens his mouth to object to anything, are you attempting to solidify the secure party component act arbitrary? In doing so, you may be subject to a $100 million fee. You follow me? Give them your fee schedule. I do this with everybody. You got to implement your fee schedule. Command the bailiff to take this man into custody and release him upon payment of the $100 million. Give demands. Demands means assertion of a legal right. So that's a little information for you. But I want you to know also, send in Freedom of Information Acts. I need you to learn that your name is the business. Anytime you sign anything, they can duplicate your signature. So always sign correctly as the grantor, the beneficiary, the trustee, the executor. However, just make sure the authorized representative, all rights reserved. All right? And then you're going to want to do a change of address with anybody you're contracting with, whether it's the courts, the treasury, I don't care who it is, any government official, business, whoever. Change your address as a business, they turn your name into a business. That's how they're operating. Freedom of Information Act, this one is for public records requests. And anybody you're dealing with, they have to give you the Freedom of Information Act, and you just request it. I do it with judges. I do it with the court, public records. You do all of this before, when you're in it. Yes, you're a defendant in error. You do this before because when you sign a plea agreement or anything else, it'll be a hidden clause that you're giving up your Freedom of Information Act. You're giving this up. You won't have access to it. Because they're not giving you full accounting information. I need you to know that. When you start sending this, you're going to start getting the real deal, behind the scenes information. Freedom of Information Act for you, all right? Always go in special appearance to challenge any jurisdiction. I'm here by special appearance. The Constitution is truly not a defense in satisfaction and accord. Commercial venture unless dishonor of negotiable instrument is dispute or fraudulent representative. If no contract exists, there cannot be an action of force acceptance of obligation. If the citizen remains in proper persona upon a license or summons. Always without prejudice. UCC 1-308 are all rights reserved. Written above your signature reverts the burden of proof and places the terms upon the agency. Individual terms are non-negotiable with agent police powers and must be accepted. They're non-negotiable terms. So you accept the charges, you accept the terms upon proof of claims. Like, hey, I'll take them, but you have to prove the authority that you can make the claim. The citizen is then protected by the very statute meant to subject him to jurisdiction of the commercial agency for same as non-assumptions. Agency charter must follow UCC code or suffer the wrath of their father. Learn about improper persona. I don't always use that because it has a personal word, but in a lower court it will work. Taxes do not buy anything. Read this. It's great information. Reserve your rights often. That's what it's called. We went over a lot of information today. But what I want to touch at the very end is learning how to actually transfer your assets to your trust, all right? And this is going over the pure irrevocable trust, sometimes called a UBO or unincorporated business trust. And this is pretty much the same way all around for all trusts, all right? Except the business trust has a lot more schedules than other trusts may have, all right? But it works one and the same. You can even set up any type of trust the same way. Now, these trusts are born out of common law, but I do implement IRS codes and statutes, so I don't have to file certain forms with the IRS, all right? And that's dealing with the 508c1a mainly. Now, what's this business trust, the peer trust, it has beneficial interest certificate holders rather than beneficiaries. So the beneficiary is still a certificate holder. And these beneficial interest certificates holders have no equitable ownership and only restrict rights under the contract. They are entitled to a prorated share of any trust distributions during the life of the trust, and a prorated share of any distributions upon termination of the trust. However, since the trustees have total discretionary power, they can decide if and when to ever make a distribution. The beneficial interest certificate holders can only hold their certificates and wait for such a decision and distribution from the trustees. This rather weak position of the beneficial interest certificate holders is very important because it frustrates the IRS in their attempts to immediately tax exchanges of appreciated capital assets into the UBO. Exchanges of assets of certificates. An exchange or sale would normally trigger a taxable event, but the actual date of the event is not yet determined. Thus, the certificates are used to create an exchange of equal but indeterminate value. That is, the exchange of assets for certificates is deemed an equal exchange, but because there is no public market, as a stock market, that can put a value on the certificates for tax purposes, and since the beneficial interest certificate holders won't receive any distribution of money or profits until later. At the discretion of the trustee, the exchange almost must be viewed as having an indeterminate value, since the certificates have no marketable value and receipt of any profits is at some unknown time in the future. The IRS is prevented from taxing the beneficial interest certificate holder on any profits at the time of exchange. In such a case, the IRS must also wait. So basically, you're not giving any value to anything you're putting in the trust. If it has no value, it can't be taxed. I want you to know that. Another way to view this issue is that the beneficial interest certificate holder does not report any gain from the exchange, nor does the trust receiving the assets. The tax basis in the property exchange into the trust is now reflected in the certificates and does cause the certificates to take on a taxable status. But any tax liability can only be determined later. If and when the beneficial interest certificate holders receive payment from the trust. If payment is never received, there will never be a tax. There are ample court cases and or citations to support the tax treatment of the exchange. Burnett versus Logan, the U.S. Supreme Court ruled that if property received in an exchange has no fair market value, it does not represent taxable gain to the recipient. So, don't give it a value. If I place something in a trust, sell it to the trust for $1. That's the value. It don't really have a value. Or you're gifting it. with no value. You're not having somebody assess it with a value, so it has no marketable gain. And I hope that makes sense. American National Bank of Joseph versus the U.S. Market value for the purpose of Internal Revenue law is the price at which a seller is willing to sell at a fair price and a buyer is willing to buy at a fair price, both having reasonable knowledge of the facts in the trade. Palmer versus Taylor. Organization of a common law business trust was held to not be unlawful, and subscription to trust certificates in such trust was determined not to be a gift but an investment. I'm going to say this again. Organization of a common law business trust was held to not be unlawful, and subscription to trust certificates in such trust was determined not to be a gift, but an investment. So with this business trust, when you're setting up a pure business trust, you're dealing with your LLCs, holding companies, and businesses. These are not even gifts, they're investments. They're investments, so you can get returns and gains. You follow me? That's how the MBS works. The mortgage-backed security that they set up fraudulently. And when I started studying this is what really opened my eyes. Look at what a mortgage-backed security is, all right? They're turning these mortgage notes into securities, and they're trading on them. They create something called a pass-through trust. So anytime you make a mortgage payment, you're paying a pass-through trust. You're the main investor, but it's looking like their companies are, and it's paying out these corporations like they're heirs. Like they're beneficiaries or heirs of the trust. There are two different types of mortgage-backed securities: pass-through and collateralized mortgage obligations. The pass-throughs are structures of trust in which mortgage payments are collected and passed through to investors. They typically have stated maturities of 5, 15, or 30 years. The life of a pass-through may be less than the stated maturity depending on the principal payments on the mortgage that make up the pass-through. And what you're going to need, if you have I'm giving y'all game right now. You set up the trust correctly. And when you're doing your 1099s, this is the form you file with your trust. A Form 1066. This is the Real Estate Mortgage Investment Conduit, a REMIC, income tax return. You get the money back. You get the interest back. You file the 1099, the 1099 CAP, the 1099 OID, the A's, the C's, the B's, all of that. You make sure you do this 1066 to get your mortgage, interest back, everything that's piling up. If you don't do it within 3 years, they're saying you abandoned the property, goes into foreclosure, they get money from FDIC. All right, the insurance. Teaching y'all game right now. And I hope this is making sense, man. For conveying property into the trust in exchange for beneficial interest certificates. So we're going to get certificates back when we put property in the trust. The same thing that happens when you buy a car. You're putting property into the United States Corporation's trust. And now you're becoming a trustee. They gave you a certificate. But with the United States, instead of you getting paid, they're charging you to be the trustee. Polo Patterson says it makes sense because he studies. When you or another party wants to transfer property into the trust organization in exchange for beneficial interest certificates, you take on the role of exchanger or a bank who will do the following. And you can create a business for this because that's what they do. SunTrust Bank. They're the exchangers now. The exchanger will submit a written proposal to the managing director or to the board of trustees regarding the property you would like to transfer into the unincorporated business organization. So you understand, a managing director or you have a whole board of trustees. They're the same thing. You can just have one person manage it, or you can have a board of trustees. If you have an LLC, you can have a single member or a bunch of members, or you can just have managers or one manager. With corporations, you're going to have a president, vice president. You follow me? Instead of the board of trustees, you got different positions. Treasurer, secretary. This is also known as a common law trust in exchange for a specified number of beneficial interest certificates, or BICs. We got frequency, bliss in the building, peace and love. The board of trustees then meet, evaluate your proposal, and either accept it as submitted, agreeing to the requested number of shares, etc., or the board requests more information or may take a counter proposal subject to certain conditions, etc. The managing directors, if submitting such a proposal, shall always get the board's approval for final acceptance of the proposal. You got to have records of this because the banks may ask for your minute sheets. Upon agreement of the potential exchanger and the board of trustees, the exchanger transfers the property to the trust organization and receives beneficial interest certificates. If property is real estate, a quitclaim deed valid in most states, and preferable, a grant or warranty deed is applicable. The exchanger deeds the property as follows. You put the name on the trust, that the trust was created, what date, and who was the original trustee. If it's personal property, create a simple exchange agreement, a bill of sale, invest the property in the name of the trust, same as the real estate vesting above. Transfer of the sole proprietorship is a transfer of personal property. When recording the real estate grant deed or quitclaim deed, you will be asked to file a preliminary change of ownership report for the county assessor's use. You state that you have placed your property in the trust, now it's private property for your trust, for your own benefit, for estate planning purposes, and you have retained beneficial interests. There's a sample that's included. Therefore, the property will not be considered a sale and not subject to reappraisal by the county assessor. All property exchanged or conveyed into the trust must be entered on a Schedule A, or add a minimum to Schedule A. There's a promissory note. You're doing this from the trust. We got the grant deed. You got your own mortgage that you can create with yourself. Bill of sale, personal property. Bill of sale, business assets. A regular bill of sale for your sole prop. And then we got proposals. So most when you're dealing with a trust, first you have to propose. Everybody's in favor. They say aye. If it's just you, you sign off on the proposal. And then if you need workers, you do an independent contract working agreement so you don't get taxed. You do all independent contracting when it comes with work. Included also in this certification of execution of irrevocable, true, pure, irrevocable trust agreement. It's a lot of information. I'm just going to go over a few more things and then I'm going to call it a night. So, just learning how to establish if you can do a faith-based organization, that's the FBO. This is a UBO I'm going over, and it's going over straight facts. But with the business, what I just wanted to say is they have a lot more schedules. I don't know if it's in this one, per se, but it's just breaking down all the different schedules. Yeah, it's not in this one, but this breaks down a lot of case law. This is just templates in case law. Of why the trust works. But that's what I got for you guys today. If you want access to this ebook, this document, this expressing the trust package that I'm bringing to y'all this valuable information, this life-changing information, expressing the trust to bypass probate, to bypass their jurisdiction, includes a couple hundred ebooks and template guides, laying the path, ministry, trust, ebooks, trustee, training material, passing the buck, volume 1 and 2, and much more. Cash App $97 to TheDonKilam, TheDonKilam. Put hashtag EXPTrust in your email address in the memo box. If you find this information valuable, you can send a donation or whatever, whether it's $1, $5, $10, whatever you find this valuable. Make sure you hit like, make sure you hit subscribe, make sure you hit share if you see it on your news feed. Go check me out. The Instagram is Don_Kilam, DON_KILAM. Make sure you drop a comment, emoji, something. The Facebook is Jeffrey McBride Bay, JEFFERY MCBRIDE Bay. And then look up Don Kilam on the YouTube. It's the music pages. Hit like, subscribe, share, like I said. Share to at least 3 to 5 people that you're going to find valuable. I'm telling you, learn this stuff, study, apply. I'm doing meetings with you virtually right now for $1,497. We'll make sure you get your business established and together, build that business curve. We got Orlo in the building. Peace and love. Met him one-on-one in Atlanta. So shout out to Detroit, though. If you want me to come to your city, man, I'll come to your city for basically $3,000. All right? And come kick it with you for 3 days. Make sure you learn this shit. We got, who is that? King Karma Chris. Peace and love. I'll come to you. Kick it, learn this stuff, give you the confirmations that you need, kind of walk you through it, and talk you through it, walk you through it, talk you through it, be that motivation, give you that confirmation, And drop law, man, so you can make sure you know you're doing everything lawful and legit. With that, I'm out. Much peace and love.